UFC Vegas 21 full card predictions and preview. Gonna go through the entire card. Exciting main event between Derek Brunson and Kevin Holland. But let's start with the undercard. In the first fight of the night, JP Buys takes on Bruno Silva. Up-and-coming guys in this flyweight division. Bruno Silva actually had a pretty decent performance when he took on Tagir Ulanbekov, who's a really hot prospect. Prior to that, lost to David Dvorak, who also is a pretty solid prospect in the flyweight division. Has a no contest here against Khalid Taha. But I am impressed with his skill set. I think he's good on the ground as far as his defense is. Granted, Ulanbekov was a bit too much. Explosive power. He trains with Henry Cejudo. As far as JP Buys goes, 9-2 as a pro. He's from South Africa. 24 years old, so definitely a young up-and-comer, but a lot of ability. You saw that fight that he beat Jacob Silva. I mean, Jacob Silva is a game guy that makes entertaining fights. Isn't, maybe the most elite level, but is a fun guy to watch. And he was submitted in the first round. Granted, I believe there was some controversy. Silva saying he didn't tap, but it was a locked-in submission. Overall here, though, this fight against Bruno Silva, I like JP Buys' chances, but I do acknowledge that if there's a live dog on this card, Bruno Silva is definitely one of them. I could see Buys winning a competitive decision, maybe even a split decision, definitely seeing maybe 29-28. I think that Bruno Silva is going to come to fight, but JP Buys might just be a bit better, and he gets a win here. But a hard-fought one nonetheless, and he's definitely an exciting guy to watch. Prospect status could potentially become a hot prospect here with this win over Bruno Silva in his debut. Because Bruno Silva, no slouch, but I am riding JP Buys, but acknowledging the possible upset there by a tough underdog. Julia Avila versus Julia Stolarenko. I like this fight. It's exciting. Massive odds difference. -350 favorite for Avila. Stolarenko, the +260 dog. We'll quickly look at Stolarenko's last bout. It was against Yuna Kunitskaya. She lost that. It was her UFC debut. Prior to that, though, she won the Invicta Bantamweight Championship with a win over Lisa Verzoa, who was actually 5-0 at the time. She's definitely a good fighter, fought in Lethway, so she's a savage as far as striking does go. Yuna Kunitskaya, just extremely high level and was a really difficult matchup. Julia Avila, though, is not an easy fight. 8-2, good record. Yeah, she lost to Sijara Eubanks, but Eubanks' majority of her game plan is going to be grappling based. Win over Gino Mazzani in just 22 seconds. Beat Pani Kianzad, and also has some stoppages in Invicta, and does have a loss there by hand injury a few years back. But her real loss was the Sijara Eubanks fight, where it showed bit of a hole in the grappling. I think we have a competitive striking match. I think it's entertaining. I think that people are probably sleeping on Julia, but I could see why. Avila's a bit crisper with her boxing, and I do think hits a bit harder. But I think Stolarenko's here to fight, and she's game. It's going the distance. I could see a split decision for Avila. I see a close fight. Odds are a bit too widespread. Another underdog who I think has a chance. Is it a guarantee? I'm saying upset? No. But Stolarenko could do it, but really leaning Avila, and she did have so much momentum as a hot prospect prior to that tough loss to Sijara Eubanks. As far as striking goes, Avila's game, she can scrap, and she makes it fun. I could see a decision here, like I said, split decision, but you never know with Avila. She could hit her with one punch and knock her out in 20 seconds. She's done it before, but I am excited for this matchup in the women's bantamweight division, riding the favorite, Avila here. Now, the next fight, Montel Jackson, Jesse Strader. Jackson's a pretty good wrestler. Kind of got beaten badly against Brett Johns. But you look at his resume prior to that, 3-fight win streak. Tapped out Brian Kelleher. That's a big win. Andre Soukmouth by decision. Felipe Corrales by decision. And Brett Johns' loss is forgivable. Johns is pretty nasty as far as grappling goes, and he's fought some of the best guys in the weight class. I believe he's not with the UFC anymore. I may be wrong on that, but I do think he got signed by Bellator. Also does have a loss to Ricky Simone. I think this is a good fight for Montel Jackson. Chances are he's gonna win it. Jesse Strader just not at the level of experience that I feel he was ready for this fight. He lost to Marcelo Roja. Roja's now in the UFC as well. If you look at that 5-1 record, win over Isaiah Gonzalez, he showed a lot of power in that fight. So he does have a puncher's chance. He could land a big punch and hurt Montel Jackson. But the track record of Jackson says otherwise. He's taller. He probably is going to have a reach advantage here. He's also a year younger. He's a massive favorite. Minus 550 to plus 425. Montel Jackson wins here. I don't see an upset here unless it was something crazy. I see Montel Jackson, confident pick in him, winning this fight. I could see a TKO. I could see a submission, and I could even see a grinding unanimous decision, but do expect him to grapple and show some nice work on the ground against Jesse Strader here. Should be a good fight, though. I am excited to see this bantamweight battle. I think it's going to be very entertaining. Next fight, Trevin Giles and Roman Dolidze. I like this fight. Dolidze coming down from light heavyweight. He's a jacked guy at 205, and now he's coming to 185. Trevin Giles had a tough time with James Krause a while ago. I do think that Dolidze might just be a bit too powerful for him, but Giles, good fighter. We'll look at his most recent bouts, his last two. As I mentioned, the fight against James Krause. He stops Bevon Lewis. That's a big win. Bevon Lewis is pretty good mixed martial artist. And now he takes on Roman Dolidze. The 8-0 Dolidze, I've been impressed by, but you know what? The John Allen fight, I'm forgetting about this. He struggled a bit in that matchup. I was thinking back to his debut, but maybe John Allen was a bit underrated. He's pretty good himself. I think Dolidze has a legitimate chance to win this fight, especially dropping a weight class down. You see that fight versus Allen was at 205. He was a big favorite there, kind of underperformed, but I think John Allen was just a bit better than people had given him credit for. I still think Dolidze could beat Giles here. You look at Giles' track record, pretty good though, I will say. Gerald Mearshart tapped him out, and Zach Cummings tapped him out. Does Dolidze have the grappling game to defeat Trevin Giles? This is a hard fight to pick for me. I really had to sit down and think about this one. I think Dolidze, stronger guy, a bit more explosive in the stand-up, and I think he can maybe even get on top and do some work from there. I think he wins this fight. Dolidze by a decision here over Trevin Giles, but I do think it is a competitive matchup. This is a fight that Giles is a live dog in, especially how close they are, minus 145 to plus 125. The next fight of the night, Grant Dawson, Leandro Santos. I like this fight. Leandro Santos, been in the UFC a long time, good resume. Grant Dawson, also a good fighter. He beat Roman Bagatov in his last fight by a decision there. It's kind of a weird fight, I believe. Thinking back to it, I think some fouls and whatnot. Hasn't had the most activity. You look, breaks 2016 to 19. He fought once in 19, once in 20, and now he looks to fight in 2021. Maybe it will be a sign of more activity for him. He takes on Grant Dawson, though. Not an easy fight. Grant Dawson 16-1 as a professional, on an absolute tear, is a dominating grappler. You look at his win over Dark Minor by submission, Mike Trizano, Nadine Armani by a decision, dominated Juliana Rosa, Adrian Diaz on the Dana White's Contender Series. I like the chances here for Grant Dawson, but we have to acknowledge Leandro Silva has not lost in a very long time. And I believe undefeated in the UFC as well. Let's quickly just pull up the record here. Yeah, in the UFC, so he lost on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil. He comes into the UFC as a draw with Norman Park. That's his really only flaw. Beat Kevin Lee, beat Rocco Martin, has beaten Adriano Martins. I mean, has beaten good competition. He really has. And this is no easy fight, but I wasn't super impressed by him in his last fight. He's 41 years of age. Time, I think, beats him here. In his prime, he was very dangerous. I don't think he's still in his prime anymore. I'm right in the 27-year-old prospect. Minus 215 favorite. Grant Dawson should win against Leandro Santos. And it's close, though. It's a decision. I think Grant Dawson by a decision over Leandro is possible. I think he needs to be very smart if he wants to go to the ground. Maybe better option would be to kickbox with Santos, and he maybe outstrikes him here, because I think he definitely could. I'm riding a win for Grant Dawson. But if Leandro Santos wins this fight, Leonardo Santos, excuse me, I keep saying his name improperly, I could see him upsetting. I really could. I mean, the guy's got a great resume, but he's 41, and I think Grant Dawson, I'm riding the younger guy here. I think youth wins here, and especially Dawson has a lot of ability. Marion Renaud versus Macy Chiasson. It's an interesting fight. Renaud, another older fighter, 43 years of age, going to be 44. I believe she's a school teacher. Macy Chiasson, up and coming, 6-1. I believe she was the winner of the Ultimate Fighter. I've been impressed by her. Yeah, she was. She beat Pani Kianzad. It was the featherweight season of the Ultimate Fighter here. Featherweight season. I don't think they had a featherweight season. I don't know if that's correct. says featherweight, so I guess they did have a featherweight season. She beat Penny Kianzad, and that's a decent win. Penny is still a pretty good fighter. Beat Jenna Mazzani, Sarah Moraes. Lost to Lena Landsberg in her last fight, though. Beat Shani Young. She's definitely taking a step up against Marianne Renaud, even though not the prettiest record for Renaud. She's been in this game a long time. Lost to Pennington by decision. Yana can't say decision. I mean, this is a girl that makes it tough. Beat Sarah McMahon. Had a draw with Betch Correa. I mean, there's a good resume here. And she's not a girl that gets stopped. I think she's here to fight, and she's going to give Chikason very serious work. But is she the fighter she once was? 43 years of age. It's going to be tough here. My heart tells me go Macy Chikason. My brain also says you could see an upset because Renaud has the ability. But at 43 and being at such a disadvantage as far as height and reach, I like Macy Chikason's boxing. I ride Chikason decision here. I don't think she stops her now, but I do think she beats her. And this is a signature win for Macy Chikason. Biggest win of her career. Minus 215 favorite to the plus 170 dog. I have the favorite here. Now the next fight, it's going to open up the main card. Cheyenne Buys and Montserrat Ruiz. Exciting women's fight here. Both girls making their debuts. Buys coming off of the Dana White's Contender Series. Was honestly pretty impressed by her skill set there. Win over Hillary Rose. Was supposed to fight Kay Hansen. Montserrat Ruiz steps in on short notice. She's a Combate veteran. And that carries some weight. Combate's been bringing in a lot of UFC talent. Excuse me, take that back. Not a Combate veteran. Invicta FC veteran. And she's very good. She fought in the Mexico regionals here. I saw the fight between her and Genesaya Maradine. That was an Invicta. Key lock, scarf hold, impressive submission. Daniel Taylor did beat her, but Taylor's UFC caliber, at least close to it. I think that this fight with Cheyenne Buys is really competitive. I think that Montserrat Ruiz is a beast. You see how she rushes in, throws big shots. She is shorter at just 5 feet. She's scrappy, though. I feel like this is a game fight for Buys. It's not going to be easy. But, man, Cheyenne Buys, I think, does get it done. She's a minus 360 favorite to the plus 285 dog. I think Cheyenne, as big of a favorite as she is, it's going to be closer. I don't think this is a total domination. I think it's more competitive than that. I have her winning Cheyenne Buys by a decision, but Montserrat Ruiz is going to come to fight. She's not here to lay down. She's game, and from what I've seen of her, she's obviously ranked #1 in Mexico. She's a scrappy girl. I'm riding a Buys victory, but expect hell from Montserrat Ruiz. Max Griffin, Keenan Song. I really like this fight. Striker battle here. Both guys will keep it on the feet. We've seen Keenan Song lose before. We've also seen him gassed, especially with guys with more grappling-heavy attacks. But if he can keep it on the feet, that's where he shines. A lot of power, coming off of a big knockout win against Kalam Potter in his last fight. Incredible punching power, excellent kickboxing skill set. Max Griffin, a bit more unorthodox with his style, but overall still pretty good. Ramiz Brahimaj, ear injury, elbow, stopped that fight there. Alex Oliveira, split decision loss. Alex Morano beat him. Morano's a tough customer as far as striking goes. Zalimi Madeov, that was a pretty good win a couple years ago now. A lot of close decision that we see. A lot of decisions in general for Max Griffin. He's a guy that it goes his way, it doesn't. I mean, he beat Mike Perry. That's a big win. Decision against Alessio Zaleski. Colby Covington did stop him, though. Keenan Song, a guy with punching power, maybe not the best gas tank, kind of plays into the game a bit, maybe, of Max Griffin. If he can't put him out, I don't see him beating Max. I think it's not an easy fight. He could beat him as far as the striking goes, but Max moves really well. He's got the reach advantage at 76 inches, 6 foot, 71.5. The likelihood that you knock out Max Griffin is low, and I feel that Keenan Song needs a stoppage over him. I think Max moves very well. I think Song has his moments. I think there's a chance he stops Griffin in the first or second round, but I think more likely is Max Griffin moving, making it competitive, landing good shots, unorthodox strikes, and pulling off a win by a close decision. I think Song's power could carry him here and win him the dance, but more likely, my mind is telling me Max Griffin here, and I'm riding him to win this fight over Keenan Song. Overall, though, I think it's a good fight. Minus 165 favorite is Griffin to the plus 145 dog Keenan Song. Now, Adrian Yanez, Gustavo Lopez, I like that they made this fight I don't know if Yanez should be that minus 200 favorite because Gustavo Lopez's game. You look at Yanez's last fight, stoppage of Victor Rodriguez. That was very impressive. Brady Huang, he stopped him quick. That was impressive, but this is a different style. Gustavo Lopez can grapple. He can sit in there and make it tough. Submission over Anthony Burchark. You look at some other fights here. I mean, does have losses, but close losses, hard-fought losses. Was stopped against Andre Ewell a few years back. You can stop him, but it's not going to be easy. He's extremely aggressive. He had that competitive fight versus Marab. Granted, he was losing throughout it. He was one step behind, but he was in the fight. And I like that with him. He beat Anthony Burchark dominantly. And that's something to note, man. I think you have to give respect to Gustavo Lopez. He's not an easy out. I don't know. I feel like high level advantage in favor of Gustavo Lopez, even though they have similar amounts of fights, the same amount of wins. I feel Gustavo can beat Yanez here. I like Yanez a lot. He's a kid that I see with a ton of upside and potential. But I just have a feeling Gustavo Lopez's pressure, his wrestling may throw off Yanez, and we see a decision win for Gustavo. I'm going upset on this matchup. I don't want to go upset. I'm actually a fan of Adrian Yanez, but I really could see him losing this stylistic matchup, especially this early in his UFC career. Gustavo Lopez win by a decision in this matchup, or even a submission, but definitely leading decision here for the dog in that fight. Tai Tuivasa, Don'Tale Mayes. I wouldn't have expected Don'Tale Mayes to get this high caliber of a fight, but Tuivasa hasn't looked great, has had some losses. Mayes coming off of a win. We'll look at Tuivasa's last fight. Win over Stefan Struve by knockout, was on a 3-fight losing streak before that. Sergey Spivak beat him, but Spivak's turned out to be pretty good. Blagoy Ivanov, difficult matchup. Junior Dos Santos, legend of the game. He also beat Andrei Arlovsky. So you got to give Tai Tuivasa some respect. He's a good fighter. He just had some bad outs. 8-4 Don'Tale Mayes. For Mayes, I mean, not that impressive as far as the resume goes. He went 3 rounds with Cyril Gane, lost by a heel hook with 14 seconds left. Nascimento submitted him in the second round. Roque Martinez, he won that fight on a decision, but he had a serious advantage as far as height and reach goes. I'll be honest, I think Tai could land something big in this fight. He's got a lot of punching power. Don'Tale Mayes, though, no slouch. I think it's a competitive striking fight, but Tai Tuivasa knocks him out in the second round. Probably a counter hook. Maybe a flying something crazy, but more likely a counter hook of some sort. I think he catches Don'Tale Mayes and knocks him unconscious. I'm riding Tai Tuivasa to win here. He's a minus 230 favorite to the plus 180 dog. I think a knockout victory for Tai likely in this matchup, and I think it's going to be a fun one. This is going to be an entertaining heavyweight fight. Big size disadvantage though, but I think he'll counter it. In his last fight, he fought the 6'11 Stefan Struve, so... Gregor Gillespie and Brad Riddell. I'm glad to see Gillespie back. I think he has a ton of ability. He just had a bad fight. I mean, he got knocked out by Kevin Lee. Brad Riddell is on a good streak, 9-1. Win streak here, undefeated in the UFC, 3-0 in the UFC. Wow, that's a good record in the UFC, and good wins. Guys that are no easy test. 21-2 Alex Da Silva, 14-3 Magomed Mustafaev, and Jamie Malarkey was 12-2. I like the resume for Riddell here, but Gregor Gillespie is a force as far as wrestling goes. He's a killer. His takedowns, his domination, he's controlled good guys. Yancy Medeiros, Vink Pachel, guys that are really difficult to dominate. He's dominated them. Vink Pachel, he dominated on the ground. Vink Pachel dominated Jim Miller. He got knocked out with a head kick. Dominant performance here for Gillespie. Brad Riddell, maybe not an easy guy to finish, but he's going to be forced to really work here. And it's going to be a ton of grappling. It's going to be a lot of ground and pound. Will quickly bring Gillespie's record back up. I mean, look, he arm triangled Vink Pachel. He submitted good grapplers. He's dominated guys on the ground. To me, I think submission win, second round against Brad Riddell. I think Riddell's a great striker. He's fun to watch, and he's going to really need to land a counter strike and keep Gillespie off of him. I don't think he's able to. Gregor Gillespie in the co-main event gets the biggest win of his career, I would say. Or maybe not the biggest win, but a needed win. It's a co-main event. The biggest spotlight that's been on him. I got the gift, Gregor Gillespie. The moderate minus 235 favorite, beating the plus 185 dog here. Now, the next fight of the night is the main event. Derek Brunson takes on Kevin Holland. This is a fun fight. I'm like super pumped for this matchup. I mean, Derek Brunson's been around for a very long time, and it says looked better than ever. He destroyed Edmen Shahbazyan. Kevin Holland has become a contender. He entered the UFC, giving Thiago Santos a competitive but still dominant loss for Kevin Holland there. A competitive fight, though he had his moments. Derek Brunson had been up and down for a while, but has gotten some momentum back. 3-fight win streak. He's 37 now. He's definitely in the prime now. I'm not going to say the twilight. He's in truly the prime. Now is his time. 3 wins in a row. Edmen Shahbazyan TKO after those tough losses there. Kevin Holland looking spectacular. You can put him on his back, but he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's lanky. He's 81-inch reach, 6'3". He beat Jacare by a stoppage, destroyed Charlie Ontiveros, has that close fight with Darren Stewart, knocked out Joaquin Buckley, who looked like a beast. Anthony Hernandez destroyed him. His last loss was the Brendan Allen fight. So that brings up questions. How much has his grappling improved? I think it's improved a good amount, especially his defensive wrestling. And I think that really could carry him here because Derek Brunson is hell to deal with. I mean, when Brunson gets on top, he can work, and he's also a beast as far as striking goes, and I don't think he's going to overextend himself. I think he's going to be a lot more calculated. The first round, I see them maybe feeling each other out a bit. I maybe see some strikes landed. Maybe Holland lands something good, makes Brunson react and move and stay away. Maybe Brunson shoots for some takedowns. Holland might defend. We're going to find out in the first round how Holland's takedown defense holds up because Derek Brunson, a beast of a wrestler. I still feel Kevin Holland wins here. I'm seeing a lot of potential. He's on the rise. The momentum is in his favor. He's got a reach advantage of 4 inches. I think he beats Derek Brunson. I think he TKOs him late, though. I think third round, he gasses Brunson a bit and stops him, or even the fourth round. I don't think he needs to go out there and try to knock Derek Brunson out in the first round because I don't think that happens. I think he needs to be technical. He needs to fight smart. He needs to gas out Brunson with the better striking, defending the takedowns, landing counter strikes, and then we're going to see Kevin Holland win. I have Kevin Holland winning this fight. Third round TKO, maybe even the fourth round. Derek Brunson, he could go out there, blitz him and starch him. But I think if it goes long, it's going Kevin Holland's way. And I do think it goes long. Holland, tough guy to put away. I have him winning this fight. He's a minus 175 favorite to Derek Brunson, the plus 145 dog. Exciting matchup here between two guys with a ton of potential. And I cannot wait to see this fight. Overall, what a fun card here. Even the undercard, there's some really good matchups. I'm super excited to see Grant Dawson. I mean, I'm excited for everybody, but specifically pointing stuff out, Grant Dawson is back. I always love seeing him fight. Ton of upside. Adrian Yanez, I am a fan of, even though I am picking against him. I want to see how he does against Gustavo Lopez. And if he wins, he's proved himself very well because Lopez, tough guy to deal with. I think the Tuivasa Mays fight is going to be off the chain, and I think Gillespie is going to look incredible. I think there's a lot of up-and-coming contenders on this card. I think Gregor Gillespie and Kevin Holland, keep your eye on both of them. I think Gregor Gillespie, even though he had that tough loss to Kevin Lee, rather, not Kevin Holland, it was a head kick. That was a crazy move, crazy moment, epic knockout. But at the end of the day, Gregor Gillespie is legit. He's going to win here, and I see bright future. Kevin Holland as well. Great card for UFC Vegas 21. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Also, guys, follow my social media, Instagram, Twitter, and I'll see you all in the next video.